Sunday night stream. Sorry I'm streaming a bit later. I shoot for 6 p.m. But if you can't see, I'm actually in the middle of moving right now. I actually got my whole setup taken care of, but really kind of lagging behind on the internet. So let me just adjust it right here so I can see all pretty faces, mother people. Dude, it's really crazy. This week I've been just going through a lot. I already got one like, and I'm not even like. It shows that there's no one watching this. But let's. I'm really trying hard to see if I can look at the comments on my computer. But I just kind of want to share what's been going on in my life because I just shoot a video about it. I just been having a stream of kind of like bad luck, stream of feeling kind of lost, hopeless, unproductive in general. Um, I'll be real with you guys. I feel like over the last 3 days, if you guys are watching this, um, I'm going through a huge move right now. I've actually lived in my K Town apartment for ages and ages and ages. I used to live there for about I think three years, and I've always had like a roommate and stuff, but this is the first time I'm living back by myself again, which is really, really kind of refreshing at one point where I can just purely focus on my craft, on my business, and not worry about anyone else. But also at the time, I've been feeling really lonely, and I've been having a stream of bad luck too. Like for example, one, I got I fucked up. I got scammed by this moving company. Not scammed, but I basically got nickel and dime. I didn't read the contract closely enough, so that's one thing. Second thing, I just broke my camera too, so kind of sucks, man. Like I broke my what? I think the body was I paid about 800 for it, so I bought a new camera on the spot, so it should be here soon. But man, just like a stream of bad luck over and over and over again. But that's kind of what's been going on in my life, and I've just been feeling this way of kind of like missing out, feeling like I don't know. There's a new chapter in my life. I don't know where it's gonna take me, and sort of little bit excited on one hand, but on the other hand, man, I just miss K Town so much, and I should have. I want to be back in K Town pretty damn soon. Um, let's see. Yo, have you read New York Times article on pharmacist working conditions? Says Patrick Patrick Morty. No, I have not. I've actually haven't really been online that much for the most part this weekend. Hey, actually, you know what? I can actually take a look at it really quick. Pharmacist, New York Times. Let's check it out. I wish I had my computer just because I love highlighting all the comments too. That's how I typically do these streams. I usually highlight the comments and kind of narrate it. But since I don't have internet quite yet at this place, I was actually trying to tether to my computer to see if I could show the comments, but unfortunately I can't. Stephanie H says hi. What's going on? So let's read this. So right now, if you can't tell, I'm actually loading it up. Hold on for a second. Da, 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 da. Pharmacist medication errors. This was an article on. What I'll do, I'll just read it. I'm not gonna show you guys the article. You guys can look it up. But let's take a look at it really quick. Hold on for a second. Perfect. Where you at, bro? I'm at my new apartment, man. So I just moved into this new area. If you guys are familiar with California, SoCal area, I'm pretty much in the Chinese part of town. I live in the SGV. By the way, support your boy with those likes so the algorithm catches on. Oh, this article is interesting. How chaos at chain pharmacies is putting patients at risk. Pharmacists across the U.S. warn the push to do more with less has made medication errors more likely. I'm a danger to the public, one wrote to a regulator. Very interesting. Man, so it goes into these. Wow, this is really crazy. So, in the letters to state regulatory boards and interviews with the New York Times, many pharmacists at companies like CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens described understaffed and chaotic workplace, where they said it's become difficult to perform the job safely, putting the risk of medication errors. They struggle to fill prescriptions, give flu shots, tend the drive-through, answer phones, work the register, counsel patients, call doctors and insurance companies, all the while racing to meet corporate performance metrics as they care that they characterize as unreasonable and unsafe industry squeeze to do more with less. This is very true. If you guys aren't in pharmacy, this is very true. You're always on your feet. You're literally juggling few things, man. It's really fucking crazy, and that's one actually the reasons why I actually left because I not to say I didn't think it was safe anymore, but I feel like there was this really big push on metrics rather than patients again. We kind of lost. We got so caught up with Z Dog what's his name? Dr. Z Dog MD or whatever. I can't remember his name. He goes, "What up, Z Pack?" Anyway, he's a pretty cool guy. But I've been following him, and he talks about this age of healthcare 2.0 where we're in, where healthcare 1.0 was when the doctor's always right. There was less team focus, a lot of corruption. Now we're in healthcare 2.0 where all we care about is metrics, hitting these numbers and stuff like that. And it's taken away the trust from the patients. It's taken away from patient care. It's taken away that part of medicine or part of healthcare that really makes people feel like they're taken care of, right? We treat patients like they're powerless when we should be encouraging them to take more responsibility and throwing more responsibility back on the patients. Because here's the truth: at the end of the day, I'm a healthcare professional. I can't care about your health more than yourself, right? So we have to come up with ways to empower patients. But the only way to really do that, ideally, is we need time. We need to think about it like this. Like, no one likes to feel like they're being turned along a conveyor belt, right? Not definitely not in healthcare. And when you rush a transaction really quickly, when your pharmacist is like bombarded with stuff, it's going to, I don't care what chains say, it's going to decrease the the quality of care between every point of in every point of sale interaction as well. So that's just my thoughts. John Jones is about to beat Dominic via stomping on his head. 60% said they agree or strongly disagree, feel pressure, intimidated to meet standards or metrics that can interfere with safe patient care. It's really true, man. It's really, yeah. I'm going to read some more of these comments. January, Dr. Lee says, 31 January 31st, New York Times, how chaos at chain pharmacies is putting patients at risk. Zubin Damania, he's a really great dude. Yeah, he's a really interesting guy. I watch his content a lot. Really inspiring. He really talks about the vision of healthcare 3.0, where basically technology, processes, they basically empower that patient healthcare relationship. It's not like always doctors, right? It's kind of like a whole system. It's a more idealized type of thing, and that's the way I feel like healthcare has to go because we can't afford not to continue this way. It's already showing. Like people, I'll be honest with you. People don't respect us or trust us because I know like at one point we were America's most like trusted professional, but the truth is I don't think that's the case anymore. Just because we are rushing our interactions way too quick, it's not because pharmacists aren't caring people. We go into this field for a very good reason. Us healthcare people, we care about people. We care about outcomes. But when you are put in a system where it does not allow to foster that relationship, then it leaves you in a tough spot. And here's the hardest part: you can't put a number to that. How do you put a number to impact, right? It's relatively hard. I can't think of a way, at least. But this isn't my expertise. But we can't it's not easy to quantify. Yes, you can look at patient adherence and all this sort of stuff, like all these star quality metrics, and then ding us for DRR fees, but that's not true healthcare. Your patient does not really care about that. If you care about your patients, they will trust your word. They will see results for themselves. And I think like here's the truth too. Like here's another reason why I kind of left pharmacy, because honestly, I believe not do we all laugh at this. If you're a pharmacist, Dr. Lee, by the way, I think you are a pharmacist, if still not practicing as a pharmacist. But how often do we laugh at lifestyle modifications, right? Because that's the hardest shit to change. That's the hardest part to change of healthcare, man. And so I just, I know we laugh at it all the time, but I feel like that's the most important thing. But guess what? Health, not like lifestyle changes is not going to move the dial, right? Like it's hard to do, and it's not going to make the company more money. It makes no one more money, and unfortunately, we have to incentivize via medications and like pushing, not pushing medications, but that's why people like pharmacological treatment, because one, it's a instant like reward pathway. So um, you can, it's like it's more tangible. It's an easier win to just take a pill and just feel like you're doing something, taking the next step to your health. But guess what? Taking a pill does not solve the root problem of your high blood pressure. Taking a pill does not solve the root problem of whatever. Some things are just out of our control, whether it's genetic or whatever. It's out of our control. But things like diabetes, like we want to do the best that we can with what we're given and take care of our bodies and stuff. So yeah, I just went on a real big rant just now. I work at PBM, and we no longer consider pharmacy a valid requester for prior authorization, but a patient can provide clinical info for their own PAs. Wow, that's very interesting insight. Hopefully, this empowers the patient. Dr. Lee, I watched some of your vids. What are you doing now? Let's chat outside of Kevin's cast. Send me a DM. Mindset modification. Many meds are injectable now. Yeah, one of my friends, it's so funny. He works for a big pharmaceutical company and whatnot, and he's a business major, but he knows everything about all the injectables, biologics, and all that. It's pretty crazy too. But I really like I think it's starting to head in that direction, but I don't know. I feel bad for a lot of these pharmacists. Now let's Abenzar Abel says, Dr. Lee, how do I DM you? That's so funny. People are help me Dr. Lee on IG. Just gave her a huge shout out. So let's read some more of this because it's very interesting. So one person quoted, "I am in danger to working in public for CVS," one pharmacist wrote in an anonymous letter to the State Board of Pharmacy in April. Think about it like this. It has to be that bad where maybe it's just one person. I highly doubt it because I experienced this too. But it has to be that bad where somebody is struggling that much in their career where after work, on their free time, they're filing a complaint with the board of pharmacy. It's that bad, and I know a lot of the people watching this. I'm not clowning on pharmacy. Like these are problems that need to be talked about. At the end of the day, these are problems that need to be talked about because by identifying a problem, you come up with solutions to fix it. And really, one of the root cause for a lot of these concerns is not pharmacists not given enough time to do their work. They're not given the resources to do their work, right? So this is really interesting. The amount of busy work we must do while verifying prescriptions is absolutely dangerous, another wrote to Pencil Board in February. Mistakes are going to be made and patients are going to be the ones suffering from it. Amen. I remember, this wasn't me, but I remember a pharmacist. Um, so I think it was bupropion and Depakote. It's been a while since I remember, but basically a patient was taking Depakote for seizures and stuff like that. But since the bottles look very similar, one of the techs actually put the bupropion bupropion bottles like where the Depakote was. Another pharmacist filled it. Patient went to ER and had a seizure because of it, right? Because um, I think if I remember correctly, bupropion decreases like seizure threshold or whatever. It's been a while to be honest with you, but that call like was it negligence on the pharmacist? Yeah, the pharmacist should have caught it, assuming that the pharmacist had all the resources at the time, right? And had enough time. And the number one thing that we're all missing, right, is that we're not given enough time. Pharmacists aren't given enough time to really take a look at all these prescriptions and stuff like that. Of course, we want to be productive. I think intrinsically, most people aren't lazy. They want to make sure that they help as many people, but it's just getting to a crazy point where so many pharmacists are complaining. Can we all be that fucking lazy? I don't think so, right? I really don't think, you know, I really think this is a problem that has not been addressed. And this is the problem where, this is not like your typical like other type of businesses. People's lives are at stake because you're dealing with really with uh with serious consequences. more ER visits, for example, right? People can die. People die from medication errors. I forgot. One of my videos I posted statistics. I gotta look it up. But one of the videos I talked about the statistics of medication errors. It's really, really bad. It kills a lot of people, man. So that was that's what I was let's see. Let's go back to comments. Lol, the office. Kevin, my alma mater is trying to push pharmacy as provider. Notification fatigue and confirmation bias. Um, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's take a look at more things. State boards and associations in at least 24 states have heard distraught pharmacist interviews records who, what the hell? It's trying to make me sign into the New York Times. Um, Interviews and records show while some doctors complain, pharmacies bombard them with requests for refills that patients have not asked for and should not receive. Such refills are closely tracked by pharmacy chains and can factor into employee bonuses. Michael Jackson, cheap. Wow, what a name, man. Imagine if your name was like Michael Jackson. Wow. Chief executive of Florida Pharmacy Association said the number of complaints from members related to staffing cuts and worries about patient safety have become overwhelming within the past year. Wow. I'm kind of curious, by the way, I'm really curious to see what sort of like what CVS and all these big chains have in response to this, because it's pretty interesting to see this now, right? CVS, by the way, CVS Health ranks 8th on Fortune 500 list and nearly has 10K pharmacies across the United States. Let's see. Doesn't research show that multitasking is not actually doable? Well, here's the thing. Like this is obviously not scientific. This is very anecdotal, but try focus on two things right now. Really hard. You can't focus on this dot over here and that dot over there. There's no freaking way unless you can split your eyes or some shit like that. But it's not safe. It's not like we have so many things like nowadays like called like essentialism, minimalism. I think that really needs to hit pharmacy as a business. Like, is what we're doing truly impactful? No one ever asks that, because when you go into most chains, they're always asking, hey, have you done this? Well, is what I'm doing truly impactful? And is the pharmacist, just because something can be done, should we be doing it? And should it be punted off to the pharmacist? Why not hire a separate team? But I'm not saying, like, here's the thing, CVS Pharmacy and all these big chains, they have really smart people working for them in corporate. You know, they hire really great talent. So there must be a reason why. I just don't know, you know. Maybe it just doesn't make sense financially. But by the way, if you guys are still tuning in, I know that there's 13 of you. For those 9 people who haven't liked this video, make sure to leave a like. Would really appreciate it, y'all. Smash that like button, as Graham Stephan says. All right. American Psychiatric Association is particularly concerned about CVS, which says it routinely ignores doctors' explicit instructions to dispense limited amounts of medication to mental health patients. The pharmacy's practice of providing 3-month supplies may inadvertently lead to more patients attempt suicide by overdosing, said the association. Yeah, I believe there are by the way, thanks for the likes. Really appreciate those 3 people. I believe for a lot of psychiatric medications, there's like, at least in California, when I was practicing, there's like rules where you can't do psych meds or something like that. But I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised, but usually like it depends. I'm sure like what depends what state you're in, but because here's the thing: if you guys are new to pharmacy, laws are different in every single state. I don't know what the hell is going on in North Dakota, Texas, all these other places, right? I only knew what was happening in California. So if I don't know something, like it could vary from state to state. But that's pretty interesting. But I'll be honest with you, 3-month supplies make a lot of sense to most other disease states. Maybe in with people with mental disorders, it's probably might not be a good idea, but definitely for like anything else, like routine blood pressure, any sort of things that prevent the patient coming to a pharmacy all the time, it saves people a lot of headache. But it also, here's the thing about 3 month supplies. There's a lot of waste too. I like think about it like this: you're dispensing 3 month supply. Oh wait, patient changes therapy. Oh fuck, what are you gonna do with all those other medications, right? Toss them away. Oh, patient like, and then you get the like when knock on wood, but when a patient croaks or anything like that, you have all these pills lying around the house, and what are you gonna do with them? Toss them away. It's crazy how much waste, like medical, like pharmaceutical waste we have as well, and it actually leaches into our groundwater and all that as well. So really interesting stuff. Clearly, it's financially in the best interest to dispense as many pills as they can get paid for, says Dr. Schwartz, a psychiatrist in New York and group president. A spokesman for CVS. This is the interesting part. A spokesman for CVS said it's created a system to address the issue, but Dr. Schwartz said the complaints persisted. Damn, I thought they were going to have a quote. Regulated chains, five rank among the nation's 100 largest companies, has proved difficult for state pharmacy boards, which oversee the industry, but sometimes allow company representatives to hold seats. So there's bias within there. Florida's 9 member board, for instance, includes a lawyer for CVS and director of pharmacy affairs at Walgreens. So there's obviously a financial incentive among the board. Aside from creating potential conflicts of interest, the industry presence can stifle complaints. We are afraid to speak up and lose our jobs, one pharmacist wrote anonymously last year in a response to a survey by the Missouri Board of Pharmacy. Please help, in quotes. Interesting. Officials from state boards told the Times that they have limited authority to dictate how pharmacies ran their businesses. Efforts by legislators in California and elsewhere have been unsuccessful in substantially changing how pharmacists operate. A majority of state boards do not require pharmacists to report errors, let alone conduct through investigations when they occur. Most investigations focus on pharmacists, but not conditions in their workplaces. Amen to that. I totally agree with that statement just now, where a lot of time, um, like these state boards and whatnot, they focus on the individual pharmacists. Your license is held liable and whatnot, which is totally like it makes sense because at the end of the day, it is a pharmacist's responsibility, but they never look at the whole overall process. So if the system is not supporting your pharmacist, there's a larger problem at hand because just because, I mean, here's the truth: we're all human. We're always going to make mistakes, right? And that's where you have to let technology support that relationship. Our systems, processes, not only technology, but processes to support healthcare and that patient relationship too. I think that is so important. So really interesting things. These are actually a lot of thoughts I've actually had about pharmacy as well. So really great. Um, let's see. In public meetings, boards in at least 2 states have instructed pharmacists to quit or speak up if they believe conditions are unsafe. But pharmacists, they feared retaliation, knowing that they could be easily be replaced. So here's the thing, right? This is the disconnect between the boards and whatnot. If you Here's the thing that boards maybe they don't really understand. When you come out of pharmacy school, there's a huge debt burden, right? Great, you speak up, you do the right thing, all that sort of stuff. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but like let's take this situation. Are you going to speak up at the cost? Are most people going to speak up at the cost of not being able to make their payment for the next school loan? Not too many people would do that. They're trying to pay off their school loan. There's a heavy debt burden, oversaturation in the market. No one's happy. And guess what? I don't know the statistics for this, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a high suicide rate for pharmacists as well because they just feel like they're trapped. They just feel like they're trapped. And pharmacists by nature, and obviously I'm generalizing, but we take a lot of responsibility on ourselves, right? We go the extra mile, and it's just like at this point, a lot of us feel like we've been burned, like not burned, but we'll take a lot of the blame on ourselves, and not, well, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I always took the everything that happened on myself, and always try to make myself better, my processes better. Always try to think about better ways to do a pharmacy, but I felt frustrated because I didn't feel supported by my employer at the time. So it's just really interesting. Obviously, I've been out of the game for a little bit, but um, I'm not surprised that things aren't getting worse, right, at all. So, and side note, I think this is why it's important to learn how to start a side hustle like as soon as possible, because once you do, it gives you the balls to be able to say fuck you, or not. I don't want to say fuck you, but it gives you the balls to stand up when you have that financial stability behind your belt, when you have the confidence to generate money at your fingertips. It really changes things, because even if I were to go back to pharmacy, hypothetically, right, I would not take shit because I know I can make money somewhere else. I have that confidence where, I didn't go back to pharmacy for 2 years, right? Where I can generate wealth on my own as well, right? And so I think even if you don't want it to replace your income, I think it's really important to have that ability to generate income outside of your work. And that's something I've been feeling very passionate about recently. After going through programs like HTC and seeing the people I met within that program, and you know everybody wants the ability to quit their job, but why do people want to hit? Well, I'm not saying like six figures is impossible, but that's quite a huge milestone. Why not start off at 1K, right? And when I took like things like Remit's, 1K, earn 1K, man, thinking about it when I first started, I thought 1K was like crazy. It was an unbelievable number to me. But now, like that. And it's having that financial confidence to have um, have those essential skills to be able to generate that side hustle, and eventually make it an option to your main hustle if you want. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Um, okay, cool. So speaking of, the industry has been squeezed amid the declining drug reimbursement rates and cost pressures from administrators of prescription drug plans. Consolidation, meanwhile, has left only a few major players. About 70% of prescriptions nationwide are dispensed by chain drugstores, supermarkets, or retailers like Walmart, according to a 2019 Drug Channels Institution report. By the way, Drug Channels is a really great website. When I was doing research for QLA and stuff, that was a great report. It tells you all the mergers and all that stuff going. If you're more into the big business type of sort of things, so it's a great website. CVS garners a quarter of the century total prescription revenue and dispenses more than 1 billion prescriptions a year. Walgreens captures almost 20%. Walmart, Kroger, Rite Aid fall in next in line among the brick and mortar stores. In statements, the pharmacy chains said patient safety was of utmost concern, with staffing carefully set to ensure accurate dispensing. By the way, quick note about brick and mortar and all that, and I read this really crazy statistics, is that I think specialty pharmacy drugs, or like biologics and all these specialty medications, they only, I think, mark up like uh they're only like 3% of the existing drugs out there or get approved or whatever, but they make up like a majority of the market, like they make a majority of the pharmaceutical sales out in there in the market. It's really crazy. So I guarantee you're already seeing it happen. You're seeing more of a shift toward specialty pharmacy based off the research I've done so far. And so it's going to be very interesting. What's interesting about specialty pharmacy is that the margins aren't quite as high, but the volume, when you get paid out for one prescription, it's a lot higher, even though it's a lot smaller margin. So pretty interesting stuff if you guys are into mergers and acquisitions. CVS garners a quarter century total prescription revenue and dispenses more than 1 billion prescriptions a year. That's a lot. Oh, I already read that. In statements, the pharmacy chain said patient safety was the utmost concern, with staffing carefully set to ensure accurate dispensing. Investment in technology such as e-prescribing has increased safety and efficiencies, companies said. Well, I will give them this. E-prescribing is like, it's not foolproof, but definitely makes life a lot easier for pharmacists as well. Like I loved e-scribe scripts. When people write that bullshit on a piece of paper, man, like trust me, not everybody has good writing. I guarantee if I was a prescriber, I would have really bad writing. And I think we should embrace a lot more of these technologies of e-prescribing and stuff like that. But I will tell them this, like e-prescribing has been a godsend for a lot of pharmacists as well. Although sometimes there's transmission errors and all that sort of stuff, so it's a lot more difficult. But in general, I'm a huge fan of e-prescribing. They denied that pharmacists were under extreme pressure or faced reprisals. Um, yeah, I will call bullshit on that. Like, I will. Well, okay, so either A, because here's the thing: if they accept a liability, if they accept that, because there's no like, if you talk to any pharmacist, obviously outside the working place, outside the working environment, they will always talk about how stressed they are. I have not. I have. Okay, maybe there's a few pharmacists where they're just like, I love it. It's fine. Like I love the working conditions. I actually never heard that. Every single pharmacist that I personally know, and keep in mind, pharmacy is a very small world. Um, all of them are under a lot of freaking pressure, right? And they never want to speak up because why would you speak up? Because you're playing. Here's the thing about corporate world: you're playing you have to play the game where you're not complaining all the time. You're saying yes and stuff. Like people are scared. Like they don't understand. There's a lot of leverage because the power dynamic for a pharmacist is that they have their school loans that need to be paid off. They're under like they see no other option, and so they're just like fuck. What else do I do now? Right? Like it's pick your poison type of choice, right? And so this is when they go in the real world of like chain pharmacy, they realize this is not what I signed up for. And that's why I highly urge any pharmacist like who's in pharmacy school or anything like that, try to see what it's actually like before. Try to see what it's actually like. That's and just and experience that and see front lines how pharmacists truly feel in the profession. Actually, you probably won't even get to talk to them because they're running all over the fucking place, man. Um, as well as the techs, right? So, anyways, when a pharmacist has a legitimate concern about working conditions, we make every effort to address that concern in good faith. CVS said in a statement. Oh man, this is funny. Walgreens cited its confidential employee hotline and said it made it clear to all pharmacists that they should never work beyond what they believe is advisable. You know, it's crazy because this is why like it's interesting because there's this whole power dynamic. At the end of the day, it's not systems that are running people, it's people running people, right? There's obviously a lot of biases. And I'm not even reading comments. I fucking wow. Wow, I have not read the comments at all. But it's really interesting because if they don't get you for that, obviously they can't terminate you for that, but they'll find something else to get you with. And so there's always backdoor solutions where they can just fire you or terminate you for some other reason, man. Right? I've started hair loss problems. How much hair medications can be treated? I don't really. Obviously, I lost that battle, dude. So you don't want to ask that to me. Notice how Hagao says. Notice how they're trying to say they're trying to increase the number of techs, but they're reducing hours. The struggle is real. Yes, Hagao. Dr. Lee says yes, Hagao. They will strive to implement tech even. I have a friend who does an anonymous survey every year for a chain. For some requires their employee ID and password to log into the survey. Well, that my friend was CVS because we had to do that. And honestly, here's the funny thing. They'll tell you, hey, what position are you? Guess what? If you're a pharmacy manager or let's say staff pharmacist, right? Wow, it's really not hard to figure out which person was who, right? It's not truly anonymous, and that's a problem, right? That there can be retribution, where there's some serious consequences if you there's that fear, and once we eliminate that fear of repercussion, people will start giving their honest answers too, right? So I think that's really important. Uh let's see. What's the difference between QLA, traditional M&A, and LBO? I would say the difference between, well, and this is kind of a side note, right? Because we're like, so far I've been focusing more on pharmacy. This kind of relates because ever since I started doing QLA, by the way, FYI, I actually put my pharmacy M&A project on hold. It was taking a lot of time, and I just felt like, especially within the Q1, I want to really focus on my personal assets before I go into QLA and all that as well. Dan Pena has yelled at me, right, off the bat, but this is truly what I feel like is best for myself. And at the end of the day, I don't care like who yells at me, because at the end of the day, this is my gut feeling. This is what I believe is right. I deal with the consequences. I want to build up my personal assets, right? And so making sure that I have enough money to purely focus on QLA, making sure that I build out my funnel for Refugee Hustle and stuff, and just create really kick-ass content. If you can't tell, I've been doing a lot of drastic changes on Refugee Hustle. I haven't been really keeping up with the email list. I've been kind of falling behind, but I'm actually making a huge marketing team. I've been implementing all these principles from QLA to roll back into Refugee Hustle. I'm going to be spending a lot of money on Refugee Hustle because I want this fucking shit to grow. And I found my number one focus. I've invested in top marketers too. So I'm feeling very confident about this year. One of the reasons why I actually moved, if you can't tell, I actually moved, downgraded into a really small apartment. This is my apartment. It's really small, but guess what? I spend about like $500 a month in rent, and I'm going to straight refugee it again and just start. Oh shit, pressing onto my computer. I'm going to start just investing every cent back into my businesses and stuff like that, and just going from there. So, and in the process, meeting, building my dream team, really vetting people, talking to people, just understanding, just getting to know them a bit better as well. Because I'll be honest, when I talk to CFOs, when I talk to all these like people, I feel, excuse my language, but I feel fucking retarded, dude, half the time, dude. Like, I do not feel confident at all, and it's part of the process, man. But I think making sure that I have a solid foundation in that is going to be key. Even though, what's that called? Dan Pena fucking is going to yell at me tomorrow because we have a first Zoom meeting. I bet Larry sent a gift card to New York Times. Kevin Yee over Super Bowl says Armored Ghost. Thank you, man. You know what? I didn't even know it was Super Bowl until recent, like until the other day, and that tells me these 11 people who are tuning in, man, real MVPs, because they could be watching Super Bowl with their friends, but they're with me, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate all y'all. But anyways, let's get. Oh, Kevin, I would love to see which of the 13 profiles you have according to Predictive Index. A consulting company made me take the 2-question quiz. Oh, by the way, yeah, you did send that to me. I didn't take it. If you want, if you can email it to me, that'd be great. I'll get it done. I'll show you the results one on one, Dr. Lee. So that'd be really cool. Anyways, how much more? Wow, this article is fucking really long. Holy shit. Let's see. Talked about that. I actually lost my place. Errors, the company said, were regrettable but rare. They declined to provide data about mistakes, obviously, because, I mean, if there's nothing good that could come from it, you know? The National Association of Chain Drugstores said, trade group said that the pharmacists consider even one prescription error to be one too many, seek continuous improvement. The organization was said it's wrong to assume cause-effect relationships between errors and pharmacists' workload, which is totally true. But here's the thing: if you have people, anecdotal evidence from the front lines of pharmacists saying that they're overwhelmed, why aren't we addressing this? Why wouldn't we address this as healthcare professionals? See, that's a misalignment, like as a pharmacist, right? And I kind of see it from a business point of view. I do see it from obviously a pharmacist point of view. I'm going to be very biased, extremely biased toward a pharmacist point of view because I was in that role, right? But it's like if that's where the why is really misaligned, at least from someone in the front lines, because here we have CVS, great vision by the way. CVS has a really great vision of really provide. I forgot their vision statement and all that, but when I was going through it, I really believed in it. I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And when I was doing when I was doing QA, my vision was really to start healthcare 3.0 all over again. I'm tired of this healthcare 2.0 bullshit, right? And if we can create processes where it really supports that relationship again, frees up time between the patients, man, that is gold. Every like your professionals are a lot happier. Your patients are a lot happier. They feel taken care of. It all starts with having more time. I mean, we squeezed at first, yes, we squeezed pharmacists for every single drop, and it worked a little bit, right? But we're getting to that point where we're the pendulum swung really far, and now it's it could cost people's lives, potentially. So that's just my opinion, though. The specifics and severity of errors are nearly impossible to tally. Aside from lax reporting requirements, many mistakes never become public because companies settle with their victims or families often require a confidentiality agreement. A CVS form for staff members to report errors asks whether the patient is a media threat. According to photo provided by the Times, CVS said in a statement it would not provide details on what it calls the escalation process. Media threat. Wow, that's so interesting. CVS form. Yeah. Here's the thing. Like this it's it's really hard. Like I get it. Like it's really hard to be scaling and growing your business while keep everyone happy. There's always going to be someone unhappy, but in my opinion, there's been a lot more pharmacists. Like you can always what Dr. Lee said earlier, confirmation bias, totally legit, because you can always skew the argument toward toward your the conclusion that you want. And because you put certain questions into your survey, it's gonna affect the answers that you get, right? Because again, you're not it's not truly anonymous, and people don't have the freedom to speak freely about the certain thing. So I think I'm going to create a huge video about this. This has actually been a really good stream. By the way, who was the one that suggested reading this article? I love. Thank you, man. If you guys have future articles that you want me to read out and give my my 2 cents on it, I would love that. You can send it to subscribers at Refugee Hustle, and maybe I'll do a video about that when things like this come out. It's really really solid. By the way, how are you guys liking this? Are you guys liking the style? Isaac Flores says, "What Myers Briggs personality are you?" I'm curious. I'm a INTJ myself. I'm actually a E. Fuck, I can't remember. But extroverted. I can't remember. I gotta look it up again. It's been a while, but I would say probably a lot more introverted now than I was maybe 5 years ago. I was extremely extroverted before, not as extroverted anymore, to be honest with you, just because I don't know, like your environment shapes you. And I feel like, especially all the lines of work I've done in my life, I've like, I think I've always been a natural extrovert because I just love talking to people. They light me up. But man, at the pharmacy, sometimes, like when I dealt with so many patients, and even now when I talk to so many clients, man, it burns me out, man. So that's just how I feel. Did we talk about coronavirus yet? No, we have not. MTMs in the drive-through, totally HIPAA compliant. It's so funny, man. Man, MTMs are, I don't want to say it's a joke, but reimbursement is a joke for sure, right? I love the direction that we're trying to go for MTM, right? Um, but honestly, it's like you like how much you get for a claim, $10, $50. It's not that much. Sure, if we can scale that up, if there's more and more claims and whatnot. I'm just thinking about how like, and I believe there's some schools, like one of my friends, I'm not, well, I shouldn't really say her name, but one of my friends, and it's not Angela, by the way. One of my friends, she actually worked at a MTM, like company as well. They purely focus on MTM claims and whatnot, but it just makes me wonder, how scalable is it? Is that a viable business model? Is that a viable service to provide solely, right? Just MTM. The only what's interesting is like Blair Thielmeyer or whatever. I think that's how you say her name. But she has the pharmacy Pharmapreneur Academy, which is really interesting because her model that she was talking about was pretty much providing a service base to providers and helping them increase their ratings and stuff like that as well. Really, really interesting stuff. Really, if I did an interview with her, you should check her out if you haven't already. Um, Vote Trump into November. I'm an E/I NFP to IFJ, turned into INFJ. So one of the things that I really like, one of the things that I been really doing is this whole TRACOM type of decision making thing. So there's four. It's pretty much like if you've ever seen Dan Locke's like Four Gems or like the disc type of thing, right? There's like with the Four Gems, like Dan Locke talks about. It's not Dan Locke's. He stole it from someone else, by the way, which I later found out. But there's Ruby, Emerald, Pearl, um, uh, Emerald, Pearl, Ruby, Emerald, Pearl, Sapphire, right? And so in consulting, they teach us really interesting social styles type of thing. It's not how your personality is, but it's basically how you make decisions, right? And so there's the driver, which is equivalent to like a Ruby-esque type of thing, right? There's analytical, which is like equivalent to Emerald, Sapphire, which is expressive, which is equivalent to a Sapphire, and then Pearl, amiable, which is equivalent to like Pearl, I guess, using that framework. And where I really fall in is more the lower half. So I'm expressive, but closer toward the amiable side as well, right? So I'm like right on the border, more expressive. So I use words like I feel like, when I make decisions, it's like I feel like and whatnot. But over time, your versatility score goes up, so you can be more towards center, which I feel like my 1 to 2 years in business has been doing. Obviously, I'm not all the way in the middle yet, but it's really interesting. Cool. So this is a really long article. And so I think that's pretty much the main point of pharmacy. Anyways, for those 8 people that are sticking around right now, really appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure to like the like button as well. And let's cut it, guys. I really want to. I want one. There's really a lot of work for me to do. They obsess over this in pharmaceutical sales. I wouldn't doubt it. But oh yeah, this is funny. I'll end off with this before I take off. I'll end off with this. 100. Where is that comment? I saw this comment where I'm expected to make 100. Where is that comment? I'm expected to make 100 like calls per day. No, no, 50 to 100. Fuck, I can't find it. Damn. But if you haven't already, make sure to check out this article. I'll probably go back and leave the link below too. Oh, yes, let's kind of read these comments because it's really funny, and we'll take off from here. I'm expected to make 50 to 100 phone calls in addition to answering phones, consultations, vaccinations, and prescription verification. This resulted in dispensing errors. A member of our staff has misfilled a narcotic prescription for immediate release rather than extended release, which resulted in, luckily, inpatient fatigue but could have easily been deadly. South Carolina pharmacist. Thank the Lord I have not had any life-threatening misfills, but I have had a number of minor misfills, mostly due to being responsible for so many duties at once and constantly being pulled away from verification to multitask. Dangerous. I'm confident that I've had dispensing errors where I left the pharmacy, but I was working too fast in order to meet our precious metrics to notice them. Let's hope nobody suffered or died because of it. How many of you pharmacists or people in the pharmacy think after work, oh shit, did I do this right? Oh shit, like it's the worst feeling ever. And then in that next morning, if you're not working, you call up the pharmacy and just like, hey, double check this really quick, right? How many of you guys have gone through that? I know I have for sure. I'm currently a pharmacist working at CVS. I'm writing to you anonymously today as I fear losing my job should my identity be known. However, I feel it's my duty to bring our current conditions to a board of pharmacy. I've refrained from drinking fluids to the fact that I couldn't get to a restroom. I've ended up with kidney stones and infections on more than one occasion. This is really true. It's like really savage, man. What the hell? And let's read the last one. There's so much pressure to work so quickly that there are nights I just go home hoping that I haven't made a mistake in all the craziness. I work 8 to 10 hour shifts without a single break. Some days I go an entire shift without finding any time to leave to use the restroom. I'll end off with this, guys, after this stream. Is this really the way that we want our pharmacists to feel? To Is this really the way that we want to be leading? Like, are these the conditions that you really want your pharmacists to be practicing in when it's your medication? Think about it. It's easy to point like, hey, oh, their medication, whatever. Or even worse, like think about your child, because we dispense children's medications too. It not only affects it affects everyone, anyone who picks up medications, it affects them. And guess what? Drug companies are smart. They have drugs for every single age. From the day you are born, when they give you antibiotics and all that, to the day you die, right? It affects everyone you know. And until it happens to you, you just never realize it. It's yeah, it's really startling, man. It kind of brings back a lot of memories. We're going down memory lane for me about how it was like as a pharmacist, and I just remember all those days where I just was like, I feel so stuck at this point. Like, you know, this I know that my gut feeling tells me this isn't right. Like this isn't how we should be treating our patients, and this is not the way I want to be treating our patients. Because it's hard to say no when a patient asks you, "Hey, can you do this?" Sometimes the answer has to be no because you have to prioritize. But in a world where you're in a system or process where you're not allowed to prioritize, you don't have enough resources, you just feel stuck in two places, man. And it's just really what is a pharmacist to do? And that's why you see things like burnout, and yeah, man. So that's just how I feel. I'll read the final comments and I'm going to tune out because I'm going to go to a boba shop and drink some tea, just non-caffeinated tea, and work on some more refugee hustle stuff, man. Bob Dole says the money is not worth it when you're working in that environment. Long-term health, mental risk. New grads have no choice since they have to pay their student loan and have limited options and settings. It's true. It's a tough time to be a new grad, and that's why I feel very strongly about. That's why I feel extremely strong. I feel really strongly about this because, yeah, I feel super strong about this because, you know, this is the next generation of healthcare professionals. We come out with so much potential after pharmacy school. And what do? We us pharmacists, we don't really utilize it. There's so much we can do, and this is not what people sign. This is not the job that they signed up for, right? Sure, due diligence on the person who went into it, but a lot of us who made this decision to go to pharmacy school is because our parents forced us. It was because we're easily influenced at the age of 18. Everybody tells you go to school, so you pick a major, you just fall into pharmacy. You just don't know better because you never taught how to do due diligence, right? So that's just my thoughts, guys. I would love for your thoughts here. Um, let's see. Please keep on. My sister's a physician. It's actually getting worse in best hospitals too. Best of luck to everyone in our boats. Please keep talking. Keep conversing, please. Hold on. Let me just. I'll stay on for like 5 more minutes, okay? For you, Dr. Lee. I'll do that. Um, what I want to do is actually I want to retitle this video because this is like a really fire topic, man. Man, maybe I should do more pharmacy topic breakdowns as well. So interesting thing, I'm actually hiring a video editor for both my channels. I'm going to be hiring a content SEO guy relatively soon, and I'm going to be investing every single month into these assets and just shooting videos. So I don't have to do the whole SEO and all that. It's a lot of freaking work, guys. It is a lot of work doing all this sort of stuff. But you know, if I'm doing it for a community because I want a long lasting legacy beyond this life, man. And what I think I really need to build the business aspect of refugee hustle, really teaching people how to launch their first hustle without any inventory, um, and all that as well. Like I think it's so important. I think it's one of the most important skills that you can do. So let's go back to here. Sorry, I'm just where's my channel? Uh, go to channel. Sorry. Let's see. That there's so many healthcare workers looking on YouTube and looking to frustration. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, here's the too. I mean, I don't want people to I don't want people to get in a victim mentality, but at the same time, I totally understand right where they're coming from, because it's not easy to just leave your job, pick up your job, do what I fucking did. Like, okay, here's the truth. No one's ever seen no one sees the behind the scenes of what I did. Like I was studying marketing, I was doing copywriting, I was doing all these sorts of things on the back end, right? And I was really preparing. Like now looking back on it, I was preparing so much for my exit strategy when I didn't even know it. So those are just my thoughts as well. Cool. This has been great indeed. I've been open for post-working vetting over boba. Well, guys, if you're in the 626 area, let me know. Dude, I am more than happy to grab boba or something like that, and just go from there. But I'm probably gonna hit up a boba shop and just grab a drink or something like that, and just really kind of prepare my day for this week. I got a plan. I'm going to plan on going back to jiu-jitsu this week as well. I think I'm actually going to try to go tomorrow. I just got to email some people and just get it all done. But you know, I really want to get my purple belt this year. I want to do a pharmacy merger and acquisition by end of the year too. But most importantly, I want to really get my channel to 100K. I know it's possible. I know I have all the skills to do it. I know I can't do it just by myself as well. I need to be able to focus on the clear goals and stuff like that as well. So I am going to change this title. This was a really great stream. By the way, I would love to kind of hear what kind of content would you want to see from me. Why don't we start ending it off with that? I would love to kind of hear what the hell, and it's taking forever. You need to find a niche. Yeah, that is right. Kevin, when do you think you want to do a live chat next? I tend to do live streams at about 6 p.m. on Sunday, so I'm committing to that date. I usually block up my schedule to that. Do you think the way pharmacy has turned out in the U.S. and Canada is going to be like that in China? Well, here's the thing, like about pharmacy in China. It's like, okay, first of all, I'm not super knowledgeable about pharmacies outside the U.S., right? But um, in terms of pharmacies in China and stuff, it's more of a verification process. There's no real counseling from what I remember. But this was Hong Kong. I didn't go in China. So maybe very British influence and stuff as well. But honestly, it was not very sophisticated. They do not have a lot of authority and stuff like that in China and stuff. I'm a senior in high school and contemplating on going to college that requires dorming, which would cost 10K. Wish I could go state school, which would be closer and I could commute to. Um, Both are in state, but the school is better. That requires dorming is better. In Singapore, I just literally saw a pharmacist alone with no phone ringing, taking prepackaged meds out of a glass case. What the fuck? Wait, I just saw a pharmacist alone with no phone ringing, with no phone ringing, just taking pre-packages meds out of the glass case. That's so crazy, man. That was me back in the day. I used to work alone. It drove me fucking crazy because I would have three fucking windows and people would just go up and then fucking yell at me because I wasn't there fast enough. I'm like, fuck, dude. What can I do? And worst case scenario, everything was blocked too, so they couldn't see, so they yell. It was it was tough, man. It's just like, dude, um, it's not like I don't want to help people, but I can't split myself in fucking three people. Thank God they passed that rule in California, where I think like I wasn't there, I wasn't practicing at the time, but thank God they passed this rule where pharmacists not allowed to work by themselves. They have to have adequate help at least, right? So, um, I think pharmacy outside of U.S. is potentially more limited duties, uh, with occasional OTC counseling. I didn't even see a phone. It's hard since YouTube is saturated, but luckily you can find something else rare and less discussed and become an authority figure on that topic. You'll be usually top in searches. The thing is too, like I think all these years I've been really trying to find my niche, and I think I've really found it, and really going to be diving 100% into it as well. Obviously I'm a very multifaceted type of person, but when you think Kevin Yee, there's like a million things. And luckily for me, I am really good at ranking. Like I know how to rank, I know how to do all that stuff. It's like, hey, what do I really want to rank for at this point? So, uh, yeah. So those are just my thoughts. Okay, I'm approaching the 1 minute mark. More videos while you walk around town, vlog while you're on the road. Maybe, maybe I'll do some like morning confessionals and stuff like that. But I'm really at the same time too. I'm really trying to be mindful of my energy because I'm being pulled in so many different directions. That's why I took Dan's advice. Focus on the few, not the many. Where you can't be focusing on 10 billion things. You have to be focusing on a core few. YouTube is going to be one of my core few, and my client that I have, my main client where I generate most of my money. So I'm going to generate shit ton of money. I've already made like, I think I'm on track for about $8,000 this month, maybe more if we really knock it out of the park this week. But you know, I'm like I need to get back up to where I was absolutely killing it in November, October, and all that as well. So yeah, and it's just going to be going back into these digital assets and this concept of digital assets. I want to help people start more service-based businesses and get their feet wet in entrepreneurship because I think not everybody wants to quit their job, but I believe everyone should do a side hustle and have their first service-based business as well. So that's one of my beliefs. Maybe show your process of your meeting, maybe finding your dream team personal account of how you found that person. That's awesome, Kevin. Yeah, cool. Awesome. I love your feedback, guys. I'm going to take it all in. I really do listen to read every single comment. I really do listen to your feedback and stuff too. So, um, let's kill it this week. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great week. Talk to you guys later. Peace. Chefs, Chiefs beat the Niners. Good job.